help. It's a choice that we make when we leave the house with a suitcase. Okay? So I think what we do is really important. And I work in business travel, okay, and the meetings industry. So my impact is even bigger in the destruction, environmental stage, but it's also big in that I feel that every single time there's an event in the world, every single time, it's irrelevant if it's a political event or a conversation between 10 bankers or whatever, the world is just a little bit better. Because if it's a fraternal event, if it's a concert or something, we're all jollier afterwards, and for a few days we're just nicer people. So that's good. If we're discussing society or science or development, we've moved towards something better. We've done something. We've produced something. Science has evolved. Medicine has evolved. We've gone a step further. So every time there's an event, it's just a contribution to making the world a little better, right? So I am not an event manager or an event organizer. I am a facilitator of happiness. That's my job, okay? So I facilitate happiness and positivity every day of my life. So why, of course I wake up happy. What else am I going to do? Don't you think that's a wonderful job to have? Right, okay. So let's talk about what we look for as employers, but tourism is about everybody. It's about every single ministry. I'm always telling my ministers that it's not about you, it's about everyone else in the government. It's about everything that we do, roads, health, it's about everything. So when we talk about industries in general, what applies to tourism applies to everybody. I'm a woman of details. I like details. I think what makes me happy is details. You have to do it right the first time. The second time you do it, you have to do it better. So it's not about getting it wrong, it's about getting it right, okay? Now, do you know that the most sold, the most sold part of equipment that men do, you know, household things, make holes and whatever, of a drill, the drill bit is the 1/4-inch drill bit, that little drill bit, okay? The 1/4-inch is the most sold in the world, okay? Millions and millions and millions and millions of drill bits are sold every day around the world. Why do people buy the 1/4-inch drill bit? Come on, talk to me. We're having a little intimate conversation. Why do people buy the 1/4-inch drill bit? To drill holes. So what's the objective? Yes, it's to actually, it's not about the drill, it's about the hole. It's not about the drill, it's about the hole. The objective, the end objective is the hole, okay? So the drill can be big, small, tiny, portable, powerful, it's irrelevant. The objective is always to make a hole, okay? So I don't care if we're talking about 5-star hotels, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, a B&B, I don't care. It has to be welcoming. Because it's not about the stars on the door, it's about the service, okay? It's not about the manager, it's about the front desk. I may never meet the manager. I don't care if he's sexy, gorgeous, well-educated, comes from Les Roches or from Japan or from China, is the most fantastic intellectual. I'll never meet him probably. In my experience, he has to be good at his job and do whatever he does. I don't really know. I care about the way the people at the front desk interact with me. I care about the person who comes into my room to clean my room because they're invading my privacy, my space. I care about the people who interact with my experience. My experience is about the people I meet. I care about the cleaning lady, the gentleman. When I talk to my technicians in hotels, because hotels ask me a lot to go in and kind of manage for a week to see what's wrong or where things. So when I talk to them, I say to the gentleman with the air conditioning, you are a great impact on my arrival and my comfort in the hotel. He goes, me? I just repair the air conditioning. No, you're very important. Why? Because every time I arrive in a new destination, there's a new air conditioning. and they get more technical and more complicated every time. You almost need to read a bloody manual just to get it on or off. Okay, so I pick up the phone and call downstairs and say, could someone come up and show me how to use the air conditioning? And you come upstairs, and I open the door, and I can have two emotions. I can have one which is, I look at you and you go, press here. And I hear, you stupid woman, you made me come up 9 flights. Can't you just put on your glasses at your age and just read on, off? Or I hear, yes, of course, it's really difficult. It gets even I'm having difficulties keeping up with these modern technologies. Just madam, just do this. And I'm sure if you're not comfortable, please do come down and get me again. Which you think I like best? Okay? So it's about the people we interact with. It's about the details. Okay, let's go. So it's about fundamentals. In tourism, we have to teach all the technical things, but we have to teach the fundamentals, because that doesn't change with technology. That does not change with innovation. It's about fundamentals. So we need people to employ people who understand the fundamentals of service, the fundamentals of creating experiences for others, because it's about the experiences. We've moved away. I'm going to do it quickly. Oh, by the way, I have a mega presentation. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I wanted to give it to you as a present for being so nice to me. So at the end, it'll have loads of slides that I'm going to skip over, but it has lots of information on it, which I thought might be useful, especially for the students, okay? All right, because I'm not a nice person to work for. Okay, so we've gone into a different kind of tourism over the last few years. We've got people involved. We've got lots of choices. We're looking for self-improvement, not self-destruction. It's not about, woohoo, drink, woo, and then go home. We're looking for much more. So we have to also provide a different kind of service. Okay, it's not about the buildings or just the trees or just the roads. It's about the software. I'm only interested in the software, the people. Okay, I'm interested in the people. And the people, everyone said yesterday that it's a people's industry. Okay, yes, it's a people's industry, it's true. It's competitive, it's demanding. We're all looking for different things. But the first time you go to a place, you go for the view. The second time you go for the service. You remember the way you were treated. It's not that difficult. Every time I land in Florence, I'm 19 for about 5 seconds. Because the first time I went to Florence, I was 19 and I fell in love with a gorgeous, sexy Italian. And I had 2 weeks of wow. Okay, so when I land there, even though I'm a nice, married, comfortable lady with children, every time I land, for 5 seconds, I'm 19 again. And it's wow. All right? Now, this is how Florence makes me feel. This is how each destination must make a person feel. Every single one, big or small. Every venue, every hotel, every restaurant. It's about what you remember of how you look. Like you don't agree with me. Do you agree? I'm teasing you. So it's about how we feel. So differentiation is not the menu. Differentiation is the emotion that goes with the menu. Okay. Here in Marbella, the first day I arrived, I went to eat at a vegan place. I would come back again just to go there. I would come back just to go there because of the way that the young people spoke to me. Okay, it's very, very important. So what do we look for in professionals of the 21st century? We want them to be multinational. Today, when we employ people, we prefer them to be multinational or multicultural, or multicultural. Why? It makes them more sensitive to cultures. We prefer people who have had the curiosity to travel, or we prefer people like Mr. Vogler. He's not here. How dare Mr. Vogler live when I'm speaking? What is going on? Okay, he's going to hear about it, okay? Warn him. Okay, it's about, he's a good example, German, Spanish, Venezuelan, all sorts of things. This is really, really good. We are looking for, in our sectors today, in our industry, for middle management, for example, we're looking at people who are sensitive to other cultures, who come from a mixed background. That is actually a positive thing today, because we want them to be culturally aware. That lady looks so serious, she's scaring me. Are you okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay, so what do we want from... Is there a pointer on here? Oh, no. What is... Okay, so this is what the intellectual people tell us. This is the difference between the skills that were required in 2015 and the skills that supposedly we're all, not just in tourism, we're all looking for in 2020. But look at number 8, service orientation. This is people management. We're looking for creativity, yes, but we're looking for emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. We're looking for creativity at all levels. Even at the front desk, you can be creative. We're looking at creativity. And we're looking... Everybody's... You don't have to photocopy. I'm giving them to you. I just said that a few minutes ago. Service orientation. So one of the things that we do a lot in my company, and more the companies that I work with do, is actually having people go and have the brilliant experience of the best quality place we can find that they can live through. So if we take young people in, we usually send them to the best 5-star for a weekend to show them this is what service is, not about the stars. This is how people have, when they come, I'm going to scare you now. When people come into your whatever company environment in tourism, this is how they have to feel. Welcome. You don't have to do it because this can be misinterpreted. Don't do it. But this is how people have to feel. We are the hug. We who receive them are that hug. And that first impact is very, very important. For example, about events like this, I was going to say, don't be offended. I don't like arriving anywhere where I don't walk into my room and don't have the program there, everything explained, what I have to do, where the meeting point is the next day, the next moment, where I have to be standing at 7 o'clock, in what kind of clothes, okay, and wearing what kind of shoes, okay. Am I going to be climbing a mountain? Am I going to be a gala dinner? Am I going to be the star on the stage? And where is the meeting point? If that's not there, I go straight into a bad mood. Okay, I am already not the kind of guest you want, okay, in the building. So these things are about the hug. That is the hug. We thought about you and we thought about your comfort. So it's very important. Look at these and study them, okay? So what we're looking for is connecting talent with jobs, okay? And talent is not just about technical cognitivity. I'll tell you the 2 people that I most remember. One lady that I most remember in my life, and this is important because this is about employability and what we should teach. We were looking for we were in Venezuela and we were looking for the hotel to be the headquarters hotel for a mega event that we were going to have. And we were going to visit five-star hotels, and we were housed in one of them. And I arrived with my colleague. We were sharing a room. This was over 20 years ago, and I've never forgotten this. And we arrived in the room, and there was a little piece of paper, because I'm shortening the story, a little piece of paper that said, "Look under bed." I'm a girl, of course I'm going to do it, you know, and I'm curious. Okay, but I was wearing white trousers, and the first thing that scares you is in a hotel, white trousers, looking under bed, I'm going to come out really filthy, okay, but no. So I got on my knees and I looked under bed, and sure enough, halfway along under the bed in the middle was another piece of paper. I said, oh, this is a puzzle, this is exciting. So I kind of got on the floor and pulled out the piece of paper, and the paper said simply, "I clean here too." Now, Amelia, okay, the Amelia. So I immediately, I'm a very quiet person, as you've noticed. I immediately go down and say, "Who is Amelia? Can I speak to Amelia?" Okay, oh, Amelia's off duty. Amelia's gone home. She cleans your floor. The next day at 7:30 in the morning, there was a little knock on the door, and this very frightened lady was outside. "I am Amelia." Like, what do you want? "I am Amelia." And I went, "Oh, Amelia, that was so wonderful." You get a lot of hugs today. "Oh, Amelia, that's so wonderful." No, she's going, strange foreign woman, okay, right? No, Amelia was proud of her job. She wanted me to understand that what she did well. Over the next 4 days, I wanted to bring Amelia to work for me and manage all my team. Because over the next 4 days, she managed my experience. No computer, no IT technology. What she did was, they would put, I can't understand why people put chocolates by my bed. Chocolate gives you energy. What do they think I'm going to be doing in the night that I need to eat? Anyway, okay, so they would put a little plate that had walnuts on it and little dried fruits and also chocolate. And I ate the walnuts only the first day. The next day, I only had a plate of walnuts. Okay? And it was just, she was developing, and it was her. And I asked my boss down, did you get walnuts too? Oh, no, I got just a little plate of chocolates. Did you eat the chocolate last night? Yeah. Okay. She had little rosemary sprigs on my pillow. And what I would do, I would put them inside the outside part of the pillow, so I could smell them all night because it's very good. And she started putting them inside my pillow. This lady, who is a cleaning lady with no education, was managing my experience. I told the director that I would make a head housekeeper and make sure that everybody learned from her because she loved her job. She was proud of her job. She was managing my experience. So it was about the service. She wanted us to feel at home. She wanted us to feel comfortable. The other experience, the Palace Hotel near my home, it's one of my favorite hotels. I've been working with it for over 30 years. I recently met a young lady from the tourism school. And you walk in the room, okay, and you noticed her immediately, tall, elegant. She was wearing the uniform, not the uniform wearing her. Normally it's the uniform because it's not made for them, and they look and they feel so awful, you know. So, but she was actually wearing the uniform. I remember that one of my clients, a male client, noticed also that she was wearing the uniform, and it was so she looked good. And we sat down. We were having a meeting, and she came and she did the usual thing, hand behind the back, and served me the coffee. Very brilliant, elegant. Then she went away. Then she came back a few minutes later and asked me if I would like anything else. This scared them because they know that I'm not a nice person. Okay, so would I like something else? I said, no, thank you very much. Very elegant, very, no. Would I ever remember her face again? No. I just remember that she looked nice in her uniform. We had no emotional impact on each other at all. At all. She never smiled at any jokes I made. She never said anything, even if it was silly woman, nothing. She never reacted. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. But of course, ma'am. It was lovely. Okay, very technically brilliant, technically correct, hand behind the back, always behind me, never in front of me. Did we have an emotional connection? Absolutely not. Was she brilliant technically? Yes. Is that what makes me happy? No. Okay? It's very important that we have a balance between the two. So we're looking at people who understand that we are not smarties. Okay? That we are all different. That we are all, they are all different. We're looking at people who offer you something special. They stay in your memory. If everyone has this memory of the Italians, the mamas, the loud, we want people to make us feel that we're in somewhere different and not a copy-paste place, that we could be absolutely anywhere. If it's the same as everywhere else, you might as well stay at home. It's cheaper and you don't destroy the environment. Okay? It's very important for the Spanish to be Spanish, but technically good, but technically warm. It's very important for the Portuguese to be Portuguese. It's very important for the French to be French. I have my doubts. Anyone French in the room about the French being French? Okay. We have to connect, okay? So I'm going to give you these things afterwards, so don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of them. So we are in innovation, in technology. Yes, I expect everyone who comes to my office to know how to use a computer. Yes, I expect everyone in my office to know how to use all the systems that we have in place to make our boring part of our lives, administrative lives, easy. Do I expect clients to know their name? Yes. Do I expect every one of my clients to know exactly who he spoke to on the phone? Exactly who he met? Yes. If one of my team cannot make the client heard just by him phoning and say, if any one of my clients phones and asks for me instead of the person that spoke to them, that person gets called in. Okay? If they call, unless of course they want to invite me to dinner, that's a whole other, we're not talking about that. We have to make impact. It's about connecting, and this is where we are changing a lot, because we are moving away from the capacity to network. Networking is not drinking a glass of wine and talking to a friend. Networking is strategic. Networking has a process. Networking, I'm called in to teach network because networking is my passion. It's a process. It's a way of communicating and interacting with the other in such a way that the other remembers you and connects with you and will form a business relationship long term. It's very, very important. They will seek you for that advice or for information. So if that does not happen, you're doing it wrong. Okay? And it's very important that my team, that people remember them. If you interacted with the client and then he phones up and it's not you he wants to speak to, what is that but an alert that something didn't go quite right, okay? It's very, very important. In hotels, very, very important. Okay, I'm using this meeting as an example, but not to offend. I'm using it so that we can all work together. Yesterday, every time I got to the desk, there was nobody at the desk. Not because people were not working, exactly the opposite. They were working a lot. But there must be a system where someone is always at the desk. You have to make sure, because there's nothing worse than saying, oh, could you look it up on the internet? I just want to smack you if you say that to me. Okay? If I go somewhere, I expect always to see a face, a human face. I do technical visits, and I stop and say, oh, how many, actually, about the parking, how many parking places do you have? Oh, I don't know, but you can look it up on the internet. What happens to that hotel? No, next one, let's move on. Okay? It's very, very important. Okay? So, it's not just about technical, it's about attitude. Okay? It's about attitude, it's about being prepared, and it's about consistency. We have to teach people technical knowledge, I keep repeating, and then they have to have attitude, they have to always be prepared, and they have to be consistent. This is what I test. We don't employ people from an interview in my company. We give them a challenge. It's a weekend challenge. We choose the best ones, we send them out for a weekend, and we give them a challenge, and the good ones will emerge. Okay? And then they are the ones that get. And they go through different levels. They have to be chosen by the department where they're going to be working, because they have to interact, they have to fit in, they have to adapt to that team. And only the best ones come up to me when I meet them. Then we have rules, okay? So, right, so the 3 E's are in my idea, in my notion, that we have to teach young people. Efficiency, okay? They have to be efficient. We're looking at people who do it right first time. Okay, they have to be efficient. That is right from what we said yesterday. Companies must get involved with universities, and universities must have rules that implement, whereby when they do their internships, they're doing internships. They're actually learning what they did wrong. They're not cheap labor, and they're not the ones who make coffee and sweep up. Everybody in the company can sweep up, including the GM, okay? It's not about sweeping up. It's about them having objectives and us taking them through the paces and making sure that when they come out, they've learned to do at least that really brilliantly well. And that they understand why, like the Kennedy Center example that was given, I'm not sweeping a floor, I'm putting a man on the moon. Why are we doing this? Why is this necessary? Why is this boring process really necessary? We have a young lady who was sent to us, and she wanted to know why on earth I still print out delegate lists for an event, and why we were not just doing them on the computer. I said, because you never know. And then, of course, the electricity went down at the venue. I said, do you want me to answer your question now or later? No. Okay, understanding the boring part of processes, but understanding why it has to be done, so that shortcuts and all that. So they have to be efficient. You know, this is a play on words, the 3 E's of the economy, you know, economists. So it has to be efficient. It has to be emotional, okay? You have to know how to transmit emotion, like I said, and connect to people. nice to people, talk to people. There's a young man outside, I don't know, there's a young man outside here that is nice to, all I've done is go to the bathroom and pinch a bar to eat. But we are now friends. Because he always talks to me. I said, yeah, I'm taking another one. Yeah, I know, I noticed. Oh, yeah, no. It's because I didn't have breakfast. Oh, okay. So he's understanding that I need to explain why I'm stealing another bar. Okay, emotional and effective. It has to be effective. We have to know the objective and we have to know what is the desired result. And then we have to know why it has to be done that way. And that doesn't mean we can't change it. Someone was saying to me, when we leave the university, a young man said to me, I met a lot of students. I talk to students a lot. He said to me, in the first 3 years, our creativity dies. I said, no, that's really silly. You haven't had much experience of life. He goes, no, not really. Because otherwise you wouldn't say that. The first 3 years when you leave, your life is going to be dead boring. Great! You're going to learn how not to do things so you can do better. Okay? The creativity comes in the fact that we learn the process. It's that young man over there. Hi. The creativity is because you smiled that I said it was you. Okay. The creativity is in learning the processes. Okay, and you learn the processes and you can be thinking, how can I make this better? How can I change this process? How can I innovate? How can I make it a little bit more adequate? There is the process of work till now. Don't come in and say everything that was before was wrong and now everything is right. That's not true because someone's going to do it to you in 20 years. That's not true. It's just that things change and things develop. So we need people who are capable of looking at things and saying, there is a better way to do this to achieve the same result, but in a simpler way and a more human way. Tourism is about human interaction. It's about how you feel. It's the tone of voice. It's not the words, it's the tone of voice. It's how you say it and how you do it, not what you're actually saying and what you're actually doing. Okay, it's very important. Okay, it's about the experience. It's about giving someone that is traveling the experience of what it's like to be part of that world. Okay, Mr. Vogler's not here again. Okay, I have noted twice. Okay, that he's not here. But I was at the UN General Assembly with a couple of ministers. It was in China this year, and in Chengdu, and it was really, really interesting that. We had difficulty in communicating with the local team. But my team was allocated a young lady called Maria. Okay, and I received the WhatsApp saying, with the picture, the young lady going like that, with the t-shirt, saying, hello, I'm Maria. I'm your liaison. I'm here to help you. I'm downstairs if you want to meet me in person. Okay. So I went downstairs, because she couldn't send this to the minister, she sent it to me. So I went downstairs, and there's the most Chinese-looking lady I've ever seen, and she's called Maria. So I said to her, you're not Maria. And she was speaking Portuguese to me. Olá, eu sou a Maria. And I said, you're not a Maria. What's your real name? Because, they gave us different names, so it makes communication much easier. So we all chose a name in the language of the minister and the team we're going to accompany. I thought that was so sweet. Okay, I said, no, but I'll call you your real name. And every day she would appear. I would never give her anything to do because I'm horrible. I'm really organized. So there was nothing for her to do. I'd already done. I'd picked up everything. And every day she would be there in the morning, good morning, how are you? I'm Maria. I said, I know. I'm here to help you. And she would be there. She was really, really good. So I stopped being so efficient to give her jobs to do. I really need this and this and this and this. Oh, okay, she would go off and that she would leave me for 3 hours and I would have a bit of peace. But the idea is that it was just so embracing You know, that we had someone who would take us through the whole process, and we didn't feel uncomfortable because we couldn't communicate in the language. She would interact with us. For example, just the idea of asking someone to give me a plug to connect to the electricity, an adapter. Nobody understood what I wanted. I wanted an adapter for my iPhone, and nobody understood. And I just said to her, I need something to put this in, to put in the wall. And she went to the desk and she said, in Chinese, and the person went back, and then she went back, and 5 minutes later I had an adapter. It was wonderful. So it was about this care of, it's the duty of care, okay? But the fact that we could, through her, interact with the local community, even though we couldn't speak, I was able to learn so much about the destination, so much about people, so much more than I would have learned in my job if I had not. So it's about creating. It's about cultivation, connections, conversations. People have to be able to have conversations. Okay, it's about giving back. You start on day one. The day that you enter the industry, you stop being lazy, you join an association, a professional association, you volunteer to do things, you share what you learned with everyone else who comes up behind you, you become a connector. It's your absolute duty to become a connector for other people who are coming up behind you. Because the only sense of life is when you, when you climb a ladder, you have two hands. One hand is to hold the ladder, and the other one is to bring someone up with you, okay? That's the only way that professional networking makes sense, and that's the only way that tourism will work brilliantly, and that we will be able to help each other become better and better. We climb, and we bring someone with us. Choose someone, a buddy, a student, become the godfather of a student in the year after you, so that we all transmit this knowledge to each other. It's very important. Okay? It's important to have manners. My employees have to have manners. Do you know what is manners? Know how to interact in society, know how to be polite. You have the right to have your religion, your racisms, or your whatever you have, but you do not have the right to declare them openly in front of my clients or anyone. So I expect everyone to know how to be, to interact. I expect them to be as comfortable in a children's party, a beach party, and a gala dinner. I expect them to be able to talk to a crown prince, a president, a prime minister, or front door receptionist in the same tone of voice and in the same way, okay? It is important that people have manners. There are so many things, young people who do not have manners nowadays, but there are so many things that you can learn. You can train yourself, you can learn, you can be taught. It's important that you have manners, that you know how to shake hands. For example, women are horrible at shaking hands. It's like shaking hands with a dead fish most of the time. Okay, so let me just test it. Hello, nice to, she's now so nervous after I said that. Nice to meet you. Okay, how do we shake hands? So easy. It's the first human contact you have with people when you meet them. Stop kissing people. Some cultures don't like it, okay? I love it. I love it. You can kiss me anytime. But that's not the point. When we shake hands with people, there's something called space. The British know a lot about personal space, okay? And you have to, I don't know if everyone can see, for girls, this is for girls, because guys, daddies teach them how to do it. Daddies don't teach the girls how to. You have to teach, there's no difference nowadays, guys. Okay, your arm should rest comfortably by the side of your, not like this, but comfortably. And then at an arm's distance, we clasp hands once, twice, let go. It's not a love affair. Okay, all right, okay. And this thing of, oh, no, too much, okay? So shake hands. Grasp firmly, okay? Like a boy. Grasp like a boy, okay? One. Because you're hugging the hand. Just hug the hand. Don't be a Trump. Okay. Hug the hand. It's like a hug. Hug the hand. 1, 2, let go. Don't be scared. I'm not going to do anything to you. Okay, all right. He gets hugs. You get handshakes. It's a little bit weird. Okay, but learn how to interact with people, because it's the first. When I meet this gentleman who's been looking at me so patiently thinking, what the hell is going on in this room? Okay. Men know how to do it instinctively. We have to learn, because sometimes we shake hands like this. Okay, all right, dead fish, okay? So remember that professional connections start with a handshake. It's an impression that you give, unless you're in Russia, learn to drink. But okay, it's an impression that we give, okay? It's very, very important. Attitude. Attitude in communication, attitude in your work, attitude in timekeeping. Okay, I have no patience for lateness. I have absolutely zero tolerance. Anyone who is late in my office is only late once in their lives. Okay? I have no patience, absolutely zero tolerance. So make sure your attitude to your work is that it's a commitment. People pay you money for that. The first thing, and this is only for the students, the first thing you get asked when you come for an interview in my company is, what on earth can you give me that deserves money in return? Okay? This is the way that you have to learn to present yourselves nowadays. You have to learn to explain what added value you are going to bring. Because there's so many people, what's the added value? Okay, we have to teach. So in the modern world, that's what I ask. What do you do that could, no. That means I'm asking you, did you study us, okay? Now, we also have to know the difference in function and service. We were talking yesterday about that, and I just gave you a few examples a few minutes ago. So, for example, when I'm talking about, this is just an example. It could be a secretary, it could be my receptionist, it could be a meeting planner, a coordinator, it could be a hotel. It doesn't matter. This is just the one I chose because of Amelia. Amelia has inspired me all my life. Okay, so the housekeeper, that's her job. She changes beds. Okay, that's her function, right? Okay, not her. Housekeeper 2, what she does is she ensures the guest has a clean and comfortable bed. That's the service. Okay? One is the function, one is the service. Ah, hello, you're back. I'm teasing you. I hope the boss has a sense of humor. Okay, so changing beds is what she does. When you are in a hotel room or any kind of room, you are in your home from home. When you close that door, you are trusting that whoever comes in will respect your privacy and your dignity. It's a very important job. What I do with my hotels, I do makeovers for the ladies who clean the rooms. I bring in a professional person to cut their hair. I bring in someone to teach them how to look pretty and how to make themselves up. It has an impact on the way. Do you remember the Ziegfeld Follies? Do you know what the Ziegfeld Follies are? In the 20s and 30s, there was these old films where they used to make these elaborate dances with loads of people and form shapes. Do you remember? They called them the Ziegfeld girls used to dance. Mr. Ziegfeld was obviously a sexist, but it was another time. Okay, we can forgive that. When a girl joined the chorus, she would get a little box, and it would be silk underwear, which was very expensive and not everybody could accept. And he goes, because a girl who wears silk walks differently to a girl who wears cotton. Now, this is a joke, a sexist joke of that time. But if you bring it to modern day times and you make people look good and they feel good about themselves, they also put more good into we have once a month in the company, and this is very important, use your voice. This is the young people, use your voice. If you have a boss who doesn't want to hear what you say in a well-mannered, polite, respectful way, you have the wrong boss. Okay? Because whatever we say in a polite, respectful manner, okay, should be listened to, okay? It's very, very important. And so when you feel good, feel confident, you tested your theory and you present it, and the person still doesn't listen, then you have the wrong boss, okay? It's very important to be self-confident, to find your boss. So function versus purpose. Explain to people what their purpose is when they are waiters, when they are receptionists, whatever. Even the air conditioning gentleman. Remember, we talked about him a few minutes ago. The manager, the director, the GM, he may be the greatest person in the world. I'm never going to meet him, so it doesn't really... Well, I meet him, but he doesn't impact on my stay. Unless, of course, he doesn't train people, because we lost a very important event because of a hotel, and I'll tell you what happened. The gentleman, and this is why teaching service is still the most important thing, and my friend there will know what I mean. The client was really happy. He came to stay at the hotel as our guest because we had a 500-person event. He would take over the whole hotel. I took him out to dinner. He was all happy. I left him in the hotel at 11 o'clock at night. Now, what did I do wrong? A very important thing. I'm stupid. I should not have gone to sleep in my house. I should have slept outside the door of his bedroom to make sure that he was okay. But no, I went home. And when I came back next morning for breakfast, he looked a little bit unhappy. But he had told me the day before he loved the hotel. So I was kind of confused. And he goes, no, Linda, let's look at the other one we saw yesterday. But sir, you told me you loved the hotel. Why? It's your choice, but why do you want to go back to the other one? And he said to me, because yesterday, after you left me, I was not sleepy, so I went down to the bar. And I went down to the bar, and I asked the barman for a drink. And he gave me the menu in the bar. And I opened it, and there were rings of the bottoms of glasses, and I said, oh, this one's dirty. And I gave it back to him. And he went up and he got another one, and he gave me, and it was torn. The page was torn. And I said, if he knowing who I am, knowing what I'm doing here, knowing how valuable my piece of business is, it's not his fault. Someone didn't teach him attention to details. What will it be like once I've signed the contract? Okay? And we lost the business. Okay, it's very important. So teach people not only the function, but the purpose of their work, okay? So what does the industry tell us? They want people who can work in teams. These are my colleagues from the industry, what they tell me, from the hotels, from everywhere. They want people who can make decisions and solve problems. Where it says tie means at the same level. It came in as the second option. Both of these came in as second option tied. They want people who can communicate verbally with people. It's like I told you, they want human people who can interact and network. A network, once again, is not sharing a drink. Okay? Right? They want people who can network. They want people who know how to plan, how to organize, and how to prioritize. They want people who know how to obtain and process information, analyze data, technical knowledge, proficiency, of course, ability to create reports, ability to sell and influence others. We all sell. Everyone sells, including the receptionist. They want people who can interact with others. Okay, all of these now are the ones that you will be able to look at. I'm going to move forward. These are all things I put here for your own. I didn't put pictures because it was all about giving you some input that you might want to take away from the presentation afterwards. Okay, and you can also ask me questions. The email appears at the end. So it's very important to know what the objective of the person and be able of the job, and then be able to transmit it to the person you're employing. Okay, it's very, very important. You have to be able to train people to be skilled, but also to know and understand the emotional part of the business. Okay. Be careful how you communicate. Okay, because when I employ you, I'm going to search you. Okay, if you do not reflect the brand, because brands are not logos, brands are living organisms. If you do not reflect my brand, you're not going to work for me. Okay, it's very important. Remember what I said about being a joiner. The day that you graduate, you join an association and you make sure that you are giving back to the industry. You're planting and you're teaching someone who comes behind you. Make sure that when you work for a company, you create champions of its clients. Fan is someone who says, oh yeah, I like that place, or I like that, it's nice. The other one is, oh, go there, it's brilliant. You should go and stay at that hotel, you should eat at that restaurant, you should join UNWTO, they give you so much in return. All of these things, those are champions. The ones that, yeah, it was nice, I liked it, those are fans. Make sure that you employ people, okay, And if you are employed, make sure that you have the ability. If you don't, tell your boss, please train me to have this ability. Please train me to have the ability to turn our client. That's why I said to you that if they ask, don't ask for the person they spoke to, but ask for me, I'm worried. That person is not creating a champion. They've just got a fan. Okay, it's very different. Okay, make sure that we employ. Always looking for solution providers, not problem makers. Okay, so it's very important that you offer yourself. When I ask you that question, what was the question? What do you do that deserves that I pay you money for it? Okay, make sure that what you're offering me is a solution to something that I need. It's very, very important. That's how we have to look at the way we work. And that's where creativity comes in. Creativity comes in our professional lives when we all see ourselves as solution providers for the company that we work in. This is very, very, at whatever level, including the air conditioning gentleman that I mentioned. Okay, be passionate about the business you represent. I am very mercenary. I'm a mercenary. If I'm contracted to be passionate about Cabo Verde, you will hear me talk about Cabo Verde from night and day. You've heard about Cabo Verde, and my minister, yes. Okay, but if I get contracted to speak about Cyprus, you're going to hear me be passionate about Cyprus. You cannot inspire passion in others if you do not feel it yourself. You cannot inspire efficiency in others if you are disorganized and inefficient. This is just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it, okay? And working in tourism is the greatest of all joys, but it has to be with an objective. We have to know. Also, driving a tractor and growing wine must be the most wonderful thing that there is. That is the passion. It's exactly like you said. If you're not passionate and it doesn't make you happy, then don't do it, okay? Remember that businesses live and fail by the people who represent them, okay? Why do I never, ever, ever, unless I was dying of a heart attack, use an Uber? I would have to be dying of a heart attack or needing a transplant. Because until they fire their CEO, I would never use a Uber. Because he destroyed everything I could possibly have imagined. Because he calls his company Boober. Do you know why? He said it in an interview. Because since he created Uber and made money, he gets a lot more boobs. And I will not buy a product of a company that has that kind of crappy CEO, okay? So companies are made by the people who stand at the head of them. You saw yesterday what happened? Who was fired yesterday? Who lost his job yesterday for sexual harassment? Okay, all right? So it's not just about that. It's about lots of other things. It's about corruption. It's about being honest, about ethical. Don't work for them. Don't support them. Don't buy their products, okay? Because mountains don't smile back. People do. Even if you have, like Marbella. Marbella has beautiful mountains, but mountains don't smile. Okay, what I will remember about Marbella is the people that I met in Marbella, the service that I received in Marbella. All those things, not the fact that they have mountains. There are beautiful mountains everywhere, okay? It's beautiful, but it doesn't drive me. Do you understand the difference? It doesn't drive you, okay? It's about skill, but it's also about attitude, okay? Skill and attitude. My daughter told me something wonderful. My daughter works in management. She's an economist, and she was headhunted for Deutsche Bank, and she was very young. She was 24 at the time, and she was called in by the CEO to the boardroom. Yes, I know my time is up. I'm sorry. To the boardroom. This is the last example. This is about attitude of the employer, and there were 5 people who were employed that year, graduates, okay? And they sat there in the boardroom, and the CEO sat opposite them and said, "Are you enjoying sitting in the boardroom?" And they said, "Yes." And he goes, "Use the chairs. You feel comfortable. Do you see yourselves there someday? Work for it. Your only limit is your attitude." Okay? And then he said to my daughter, "Do you want to try my chair?" And she was kind of, No, no, and he said, no, no, go on, go on. No. And then he pulled the chair out for her, and she sat down. And he goes, come on, swivel round. It swivels really well. She was really embarrassed. She didn't know what to do, but she swiveled round. And then he said, is it comfortable? Do you want to sit there one day? Attitude is the only thing standing in your way. And she came home, and she was 10 inches off the ground. Okay? And she was 24. And she has the most boring... She's an economist, for God's sake. Okay, it's an obscure science. But she came home the happiest person in the world because she could see herself there. Do that. As employers, that's what you have to do. Okay? And this is what you have to remember, because opportunity only dances with those already on the dance floor. Okay? Well done. I don't know if there are questions.
Exactly. Hello. Yes, thank you very much, Linda. Now I know that my role as MC is not only reading, but actually making people's lives easier.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, we just have a few minutes for some questions. I'm sure somebody would have a question for Linda.
Is there any water? Can I pinch someone's water?
Hello.
Oh, hello. We met yesterday. Yes, I can hear you.
I would like first to thank you to Mr. Vogler and to World Tourism Organization for giving the importance of knowledge tourism, developing of students, staff, people who are involved in our sphere, because our sphere is one of the most important, lovely, interesting, and we should invest in our staff, let's say. Why it's so important? Because our universities and our discipline is giving and creating the brain and the engine of the future in our sphere.
Yes.
So it is very important. I will recommend the next year to the universities in Bulgaria. Because I think all the deans, the teachers, the lecturers should be here because they will share their experience. They are preparing the students that are going not only to follow the worldwide trends, but to discover, to provoke the trends, not only to search the demand, but to research the demand and to follow the trends as we have been taught at the universities, but to provoke the demand.
Yes.
I would like to share our experience in Bulgaria regarding the connection, the relation between and the gap between the industries, the entrepreneurs, and the universities. Where are the threats and where are the opportunities? And before this, I would like to say to all the students, you have to be very proud that you are following these programs in tourism, because you can see and you have the chance to see all the other sectors and the synergy between all our sectors within tourism. It's like the umbrella of the economy, and we have to be proud of this. So use all the opportunities, all the chances, all the links, and all the time that you are in the universities to create relations, to develop yourself, and to do the best bridge and flow in the industry in the most interesting and positive way you can do it.
Excellent. And yesterday you didn't want to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a very nice formula that we have been studied, maybe it's everywhere, education, but we have to give very big importance to the education and the diploma of our branch, tourism, because no everyone can replace a professionalist who educated tourism in our sphere. For example, ministers and so on, and in hotels and in travel agencies. What we study in the university cannot be replaced by anyone who studied even economics, macroeconomics, law, finance, or whatever, because we combine knowledges from all other spheres, psychology, strategic management, as I said, law, finance, but we can see the macro vision of all this in the use for the branch. So we have been studied, so education, training minimum 6 months in whatever company. Nevertheless, it is a travel agency, hotel, or whatever.
Yeah,
Training.
and don't do it at the end of the course. Do it in the middle.
Yeah.
Make it like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Training.
Sandwich program.
Sandwich programs are much more effective, I've found, than end of course
Because
internships.
training, we had a brilliant lecturer, Andrew Bohr from Bournemouth University, who said the training is incredibly important because the students, they are trained within their own style and vision of the entrepreneur in regards with the company, hotel, travel agency, or whatever. And afterward, the third point, empower your staff.
Yes.
Empower
a voice.
your
Have a
staff.
voice.
Yes, in order to create, because the staff is a very important element of the unique selling point of the product.
Yes, I agree with you. So it's what I was saying about the voice. Have a voice. Use your voice. Yes.
Thank you once again. Thank you once again for the conference, for the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Bulgaria.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have a question for Ms. Pereira? Some of the students?
You do it now or you forever stay quiet. The girls are showing up, the boys. Second lady.
Hello. Good morning.
Good
Pleasure
morning.
to know you and thanks for your presentation. I'm Cristina Gonzalez. I'm working in Iberostar as a HR and talent
I know them
acquisition,
well.
exactly,
Yes.
and development. And well, you said, I was interested obviously in the attraction part of the candidates, and you say that you are doing kind of challenges. You are doing a different kind of selection process, and
Yes.
I'm very interested, so I don't know
Yes.
if you know how your people do this kind of process.
We have a period that accepts candidacies and applications, and then there's a first selection of the most skilled, technically skilled, etc. And then we put them together in a challenge that would be an everyday challenge of connected to our company or to the department that they're going to be in. It depends what kind of. I'm generalizing. It depends what kind. If it's to work with me, then it's strategy, strategic development, creating project outlines, etc. If it's to work with somebody else, then it'll be production or marketing. It depends what it is. And then we put them, we have a partner hotel, which is the Eden. And in the Eden, we set, it's either a full day or it's a weekend challenge where we leave them alone and we watch them on camera and on video. And I watch them there. We have two people in the room, but I watch them, how they interact with each other, how it's a little bit like Big Brother, but they know we are watching. Okay, but it's in the sense that after a while you become unaware of the cameras. It's psychological, and you start competing and you start acting either. We can tell people's personalities by the way they develop the challenge, the way they interact with each other, the way they work as a team. Because sometimes I will choose if there's a guy up here and he's really highly skilled, but he doesn't interact well, then I'll perhaps choose the second one if he interacts well, because there are things that are more important. So, and then we eliminate them. Eliminate sounds awful. We're killing them all off. But we reduce the number during the day until we get a smaller number, and then that smaller number will get a final challenge, and it's from there that we will choose. And then, of course, they also have one-to-one interviews with the direct manager that's going to work with them. Okay, so.
Thank you.
And the ladies, that's the third lady. Oh, I take it back, I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have guys, yes.
Thank you so much for your really inspiring talk. My name is Kumikato from Japan, Wakayama University.
Nice to
and
meet
I
you.
have a fantastic 4 students with us.
Oh, well done.
Who you will hear from then, later in the day. But my question is, how, your example sort of refers to the staff working in the hotel or service industry.
Yes.
But how would you, make sure that, people's experience come from the local people who
Yes.
may not be part of the tourism
Yeah,
themselves.
obviously.
So how would you make sure that you involve those local communities?
It's like
who-
you knew me and you met me in another life. In destinations, I've had these experiments which I absolutely love. We created something in my destination called the CTA. The CTA is my destination is called Cascais, and it's a little bit like Marbella. It's by the sea, and we call it the CTA. And the CTA is the Cascais Tourism Ambassador. And what we do is through the Businessmen's Association, the Business Association, because the business association, the local business association, will have all the members are small businesses and micro business like restaurants and shops and whatever. Through that, we started offering a free course. It's an 8-hour course where every shop, it doesn't matter what you sell, every restaurant, how big or small every hotel can appoint one person to be their tourism ambassador in the company. They must speak another language. That's the only qualification. Then they come in and spend 8 days with me and my team, and we volunteer, and we teach them about the destination, what you should see in our destination, how to travel, where to eat, where to go, what is interesting, what are the high points, etc. So that imagine that tomorrow I'm going to a shop to buy a blouse, and I walk in, and they have their little CTA because they get a pin, and they get recycled, or you can appoint another one the next year. And every year we meet with them for coffee, and we tell them what's new in the destination, and we take them to tourism schools, etc. And so I'll come in, I'm buying a blouse, and she'll approach us, oh, you're a visitor, yes. Have you been to Cascais before? Do you know Cascais? Oh, you shouldn't go without visiting this or seeing that. People have loved it. It has become such a success, and we're now replicating it from north to south in Portugal. I'm going to do it in Cabo Verde next. And you add the name of the city. Ours is CTA because it's Cascais Tourism Ambassador. Here could be MTA. I'm giving you an example. Marbella Tourism Ambassador. Because what it does is, from a taxi to a shop to anyone, people become immersed in the tourism process. And everyone in every little shop will have a tourism ambassador. And the employees are really proud to carry that pin. Now they walk around with pride. I'm this shop's CTA. You know, it's like it's a qualification. It's not, but you know what I mean. So when we recycle them, and then we have meetings for CTAs, which makes them feel ever so proud. So every company sends their CTAs to come, and so it's not difficult to englobe the community. It's just about doing it in a way that it's a way of us teaching them that tourism is important, and you have to stop to talk to them. And you have to, if a tourism asks you the way, you have to go out of your way to make sure that they know the way, because you are the interaction. This is not, I'm not that intelligent. I didn't dream this. This comes from my working as a Saturday girl in Marks and Spencer's. My manager in Marks and Spencer's, when I was 17, told me, you may be the only person the client will interact with in the shop. Make sure that it is a good experience. Say good morning, say goodbye, thank you for shopping at Marks and Spencer, be nice, smile. If the client, imagine the client came in and asked me for this shirt in 41. I know I don't have it. I don't have it. I know I've just looked. I don't tell him that. I look everywhere in front of him. I don't say, no, sorry, we're sold out. I look. I open all the drawers. I phone other shops. Do you have? And if by any chance there is one, could you just pop it in a taxi and bring it over to the Oxford Street shop? And then, would you like a cup of tea while you wait, sir, while your shirt arrives? So join me, come, I'll take you upstairs to have a cup of tea. What do you think will happen next time that person needs a shirt? Okay, I was the most successful lady on commission. I used to earn lots of money. Okay. Because I really do, you have to like people. In our industry, if you don't like people, change your job. You're destroying the industry. Please, for God's sake, go and work somewhere else. We don't want you, okay? If you don't like people, we do not want you in our industry. You're going to do really bad things to us. So it's very important that we do involve the community, and we can do that by making them feel part of it. If you're included in something, you become involved in it. And if you're involved in it, you want it to be good. I don't know, it's my philosophy. Anyway, this gentleman here.
Yeah. Hello, Linda.
Hello.
It's also very nice to hear you, and it was very inspiring, your talk.
Thank you.
Hopefully you could maybe go to Chile, even though you'd have to do it in Spanish. Is that too difficult, maybe?
No, I can do it in really bad Spanish.
Okay,
If that's
that's all right.
acceptable, I will
If
do
it's with the same
Or
smile, that'll
portoñol,
do.
I can do it portoñol.
Well, I'm from Chile. I also...
Oh, I love Chile.
Oh, you've been there?
Oh, lots of times.
Okay, well, I'm from Chile, so maybe you've lived the service experience in that country.
Yes.
And one of the main issues we have today in our industry is service.
Yes.
They say it's very bad, it's appalling, and there's been different measures to try to improve it, but it's been quite difficult to make a
Yes.
change. So today, you hear a lot about it's cultural, that the people are born with a bad service. Is that so?
No, it's not. That's silly. I think it's a gap between knowing why you're doing it and doing it. And it's also respect and pay. I think if people pay them really badly and crappily, they don't care. I think it has to do with all those factors and all the... I think it's a big set of factors. Okay, I didn't touch on everything here because it's not possible. This was a tiny thing, you know, but it's a whole set of factors. And I think that in Chile it's to do with pay. I think it's to do with training, the way that the teachers are also trained, because it's sort of academic training, and there's not much interaction with industry. Then they go suddenly in the industry, they get badly paid, they work. No. So I think it's a lot of things. I don't think I've been to Chile, and we do briefings before our things, and everyone works really brilliantly. They understand why, and I even have volunteers from the university coming to work just to be in the room and to participate. So I don't know, you're not born with that. I think you just have really bad people training them and paying them really. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm doing your job. I should never do that. That's rude. Okay.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Muito obrigado. It
De
was a
nada.
Great, inspiring speech. I'm kind of wordless. So, just to put the framework, you know, I come here as a headhunter, and I work in the travel industry. But I also think in terms of a professor in business schools.
Yes.
And I have been proud and honored to be teaching here at La Roche. Thanks
great
to Carlos.
school.
Is great, and usually I approach issues on the networking, both offline and online, to improve the personal brand and employability.
Absolutely.
So I loved everything you have been talking about because I coincide in, you know, most of the issues. And I want to comment a couple of things.
Yes.
One is mostly for students and possible, you know, candidates. And second is more of a question or a follow-up on what you have
Yes.
been discussing. Just, guys, don't think that what she has been saying is buzzwords. It's something that is taken very seriously from the ones that we are looking for talent.
Yes.
She has been talking about being honest. You have been talking about attitude.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna kill to have your presentation because I'm gonna read it.
And he's a
100 times.
headhunter.
It's fantastic. And you know, the other thing that you commented that is very important is, although I encourage people to make yourself visible both in, you know, offline and online, watch out what you say, what you write down.
Well-mannered and...
Yeah, and some people don't know it, but you know, people working in headhunting companies or recruiting companies, we do what is called a digital imprint
Yes.
report.
Yes.
We investigate, and there are some people that are specialists into that, everything you have been published in the last 5-7 years.
I have someone in my
Social
company that
media.
only does that. That's his job. Yes.
So it's very good to participate in social media and
Yes.
publish everything that you want to be a reference
Yes.
of, but watch out because everything you publish something, it stays there. And some people say, well, I'm gonna delete it. No. Once you send it, it doesn't belong to you anymore. So
It's
watch
public.
out. Okay? And finally, my question to you, you know, the tendency when we call it the sector, we call it TTL, travel, tourism, and leisure, okay?
Yes.
And we're looking for candidates into that
Yes.
side, and there's always a tendency to think in terms of B2C.
Yes.
You know, people, you know, companies that are, you know, facing final clients, but there's also a lot of opportunities in the B2B, and I was commenting yesterday, I used to work in Amadeus for 10 years, and everything you said is completely applicable also in the B2B arena
Yeah,
when
it's
you're
my area,
working
yeah.
for airlines, for hotels, for travel agencies.
Yes.
I wanted you to make any specific, because people might be thinking always on the final
Yeah, the
client,
end
but
client, yeah.
the B2B
Yes.
client is very important.
Yes,
Thanks
and
a
in
lot.
fact, it's where I work mostly, my 80% of my life is on the B2B side of the work. And I think that there is even more complicated. My interaction is with the guys who then make decisions about what happens as regards from... I talk to them, but then they work with the end client. And it's really, really, really difficult because everything that you're communicating with them will guide and orient their decision. So when you're working with people like that, the whole concept of doing your homework, due diligence, making sure that what you transmit and how you represent is even more important. Because when I represent, we're going to the top of the hill now. When I represent a minister, okay, he can get fired and the whole thing will collapse if I make the wrong decision, say the wrong thing, do the wrong, offend someone, interact negatively with another person, make a... Okay, let's just look at Mr. Trump's stuff, okay, and how quickly they turn over. Okay, a few months ago, I was working with a member of government. It doesn't matter who, it's irrelevant. But one of his senior directors, and I work with the whole team, decided to create an event to promote tourism in the country, etc. And instead of doing his due diligence and making sure that he got the right partners in, he brought in a couple of friends. Okay, we're just putting it like it is. Anyway, the event was a disaster financially, visually, within the media. Okay, now, to him, he lost his job, but the person who permitted him to do it was the minister, okay, who gave him free rein. So all that was like a wave that came back, okay, and the minister lost his job as well. So all of political responsibility. So when we get to a point at senior management or a senior level, everything that we do in interacting with that has an even greater influence on the whole, because it's a ripple. It's a ripple. And there's a different... I'm speaking English, so I feel guilty because I want to use words that I can't use. It's the difference between a ripple and a splash. Do you know what is a splash? A ripple is you drop a little pebble and the water does that, all right? A splash is you drop a little pebble, it goes, and you all get wet, all right? It's a whole difference, okay. We can make a mistake on the front desk and we can repair it immediately. Empowerment by being able to compensate. We make a mistake at a higher level, or we're not so committed, or we're more dishonest, or we're less than it. The impact is much, much, much more far-reaching, and it's very, very important. I could talk about this for a long time, but I'm not going to talk about it for a long time because I know that my organizers are getting very fidgety. But that is a really good question. I'm going to add it to my next presentation. Thank you for your advice. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me.